I decided to go live because my guest wasn't able to connect. We know technology, right? So nothing's going to stop us. We'll just wait here for her patiently. I'm glad to see you all here today. Hey, Will. Yes, I've been meaning to reach back out to you. You're doing some wonderful things, as all of you are doing in the community. And I appreciate all of your efforts because it takes a village, they say, to raise a child. So I don't know what we're raising here other than children. The people in Congress, I guess they're children too. So we all have been children once upon a time. We have our inner child. Many of those individuals there, they have issues with their inner child, and we're going to help them out. We're going to say, okay, you step aside here, okay, and let us take over, and we'll run this show. Okay, that's how. That's what we're going to do. We're going to let them come out, work on their inner child while we take over, okay, and run this country the way it needs to be run. Okay, are we in agreement with that? While they work on their mother and father wounds, we're gonna take over the country. Okay? Because us here, we have done the hard work. Okay? We have cleaned the closet. We have looked in the mirror. Okay? And we would have been in agreement with ourselves. These are the changes that we need to make, okay, to become the leaders we want to be. So we have to hold these people feet to the fire and hold them accountable. Am I right? Okay? Yeah, there's peaks and there's valleys. That's such as life. Okay? How we handle those valleys will determine our peaks. Am I correct? I should just call you up here, Will. We can just continue while we waiting on Priyanka. Does that sound good? Don't get me started, okay? Whew. Okay, she gonna be here, but in the meantime, okay, we gonna continue on the path of our calling. Okay, we must be courageous. Okay, we can't sit aside while everything is going to shit. We need to get up off that couch. Okay, open your mind, open your heart, and that's where the work begins. Okay? He said, call me in. I would, but I don't know what she would say. Well, we all three of us can talk together, right? It's all good to me. The more the merrier. I'm just gonna, it's just about, respect. And I'm gonna give her an opportunity since we made this appointment. But hey, I'm willing to talk with whoever. Okay? Our message is too important, okay, to be quieted, okay? We are no longer going to remain quiet. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot be quiet when there's so much chaos and confusion going on in the world. How can you sleep? How can you sleep? I have a problem with sleeping, so I sleep when I can, okay? I might take 3 naps during the day. But then I wake up fired up at all the shit that I'm seeing that the world is turning into shit on our watch. On our fucking watch. Can you believe that shit? I just can't believe of things I'm seeing in the world and what people are doing now. It's just unbelievable. What are they drinking? What are they eating? What are they fucking smoking? Okay, Dr. Priyanka, okay? We love you because she has a lot to say, okay? And the topic that we were going to talk about today is things we shouldn't say. Okay? When I think about that, I'm like, what the hell shouldn't I be able to say? Okay? When we all were growing up, there was a lot we couldn't say. Even when we saw it, okay, it was staring us in the face, we couldn't say it. You know why? Because people didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to hear the truth. People are like, yeah, talk. They don't want to hear the truth. They want to stay in their comfort zone. Okay? Okay, Dr. Priyanka. Okay, I'm about to ready to call Will up here. As soon as I call Will up here, then she'll show up. Okay, she can talk too. Okay, maybe this was coming from the. I'm gonna say it just like it is. I ain't gonna try to sugarcoat it. Maybe it's coming from the spirit that she wasn't gonna be here with us today. That's not my choice. Okay, we're going to. Okay, it's like this. If you ever played cards, right? When you dealt that hand, you play that hand the best you can, right? It is what it is. Okay, you make something out of nothing. Okay, I don't know where she is, but I'm gonna call Will up here. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Okay, we're gonna make something out of nothing. Okay, and we still gonna call for her too, cause she has a lot to say. All right, we have to be willing to improvise. Okay, because everything is not gonna go according to plan, and we know that. So, are you gonna give up because things don't go according to plan? Hell no. You're going to keep going. Keep going with what you got. Okay? So I'm calling Will up here, and I call the Dr. Priyanka up here. So whoever show up, let it be.
Hello.
Will, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Fired up today. Okay?
I
I
see
know
that.
this is
You got me fired up.
what you say?
You got me fired up.
All right, that's good. Okay? You
Yeah, it
didn't
is good.
plan this, but the spirit did. Okay?
Yeah, you gotta follow the spirit sometimes, right? Like I mean, I saw you, I saw your beautiful face out there come up and I was like, click, like I clicked right away and I wanted to see because I haven't seen you in a bit, and I want to see what kind of work you're doing today, and man, you were fired up. You're right. And you just filled me up, so I had to make sure you knew I was there hearing you and cheering you on. I love that spirit of yours. It's wonderful. We need it. We need it so desperately.
We certainly do. And Dr. Priyanka can still join us too because she has a lot to say. Okay.
And
And
listen, if I can jump out, when the doctor comes.
this was meant by the spirit, and I want you to stay.
Okay.
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 I just wish we could bring more people in to let them know that you're here, so they can come aboard.
Well, hopefully people look out for me. I don't know how any of these apps work. I'm terrible with technology, but people should be able to find me somehow. And I'll put a message out too, so hopefully people will see me. But
Okay.
yeah.
Um, I know that Dr. Priyanka's not going to take any offense. Okay, I'm gonna
Okay.
still continue. I'm gonna still continue to try to get her in here. Okay, because
Okay.
she is such a powerful force herself. Okay, because
I would love that.
otherwise I wouldn't have even approached her. Okay, to even have a conversation if we're not on the same level with each other and have
Oh, oh, I trust
similar.
I trust I trust your judgment, like yeah.
So today, what we were going to talk about things we shouldn't say. Okay, honestly, I can't think of anything. But then I was talking about our childhood. Like there was always something that we weren't allowed to say. Like when I was a kid, my father, Baptist minister. You don't. Kids stay in a kid's place. You are not allowed to come in there when grown folks talking, okay? And rightfully so. So, because what do you know about it anyway? You haven't lived long enough to even know how to blow your nose, you know? So, how? So, talk to me. Talk to me about some of these things.
Yeah, things that you're not supposed to say, huh?
Yeah, right?
Well, you know, for me, Margaret, what really comes up, first of all, there's one word that comes up right away for me. You know what that word is.
I want you to say it.
It's the N word, it's the N word. And that's what comes up to
Oh,
me.
oh, oh.
Things, yeah, that's literally the first thing I thought of when you said things we shouldn't say, and I'm like, the reason why it comes up for me is because it reminds me of growing up with many people saying the word, right? Like, I mean, I grew up in an all black community, all black neighborhood, all black school. And then, yeah, the N word was utilized. And I was educated about the civil rights movement. I saw roots at a young age, and I watched, a depiction of my ancestors getting beat within an inch of their lives, getting their limbs chopped off with that word on the lips of the people who were doing it. And for me, once I saw that and understood what it meant about my country and about the history and about my history and about my identity, there was no possible way I was saying that word. There was no possible way I was using that word. And then when I heard people say the argument, well, we're reclaiming the word, I thought that was the most foolish thing that I ever heard personally. I was like, you can't be reclaiming something that's still being used for its original purpose that it was created for presently. You're not, like you're not actually reclaiming anything, like I could get on
Well,
board if that were
let,
possibly true, but
let me say this before I forget. What they did was repurposed the word. Let's keep it real. Like with our content, they repurposed it. So what they did was utilize the rappers. Okay, utilize the rappers to come out and saying nigga this and nigga that, and that way, when we're talking to our own people, then it's okay, it's acceptable. No, that shit ain't acceptable. We're fuck.
right? And they're like laughing all the way to the bank, right? Making us call each
Right.
other the N word, like it's people don't know how deep this evil goes. Like these people are sadists, like they enjoy creating situations where people are misery. If they can create a situation where someone creates their own misery, that's even more fuel to these people. They
Yes.
feed off of that. Um
Exactly. Exactly. To me, what the hell are we fighting among each other for? The black, the white, all these other. What the hell are we fighting about among each other? That's a distraction.
exactly. That is the distraction, and
Okay.
we gotta
Is
rise
my
above it.
my internet is unstable. Okay. I
You're
can't
co
do nothing about that.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. You're coming back a little bit, but
Okay.
yeah, you're exactly right, and we gotta rise above that, and just lean into our strengths. That's really why I was drawn to your content, Margaret, because you really were focusing on empowerment and, you are connected spiritually, like, as well, and emotionally, you've professionally, you've been through so much, you've experienced so much, you've learned so much, and you just have so much to share and give at this time, and people need to be listening to you and taking in those words of wisdom. And what are things that we shouldn't say? I'm with you. I gave that inward example, but like outside of these things that I know are hurtful to other humans, right? Words that I know were
Right.
created with the sole intention and purpose to injure. Outside of that, I don't think anything's off the table at all, and I've always been that person saying the thing that makes people uncomfortable, right? Since I was a child. People been shushing me since I was a child, Margaret.
Yes. Me too. That's why I was the black sheep. Okay. I was the one that got ostracized because I knew too much, I saw too much, and people that are evil don't like that because
Oh,
you can see right through them.
exactly. Well, there was one time, I'll tell you one exception. You're exactly right, but there was one exception that I experienced with this psychopathic woman. All right. Yeah. I'll tell you how I knew she was too, because I walked in on her in a bedroom, standing over a man, like smiling like a demon, and this man was like bawling. And she's standing over him, smiling like I'm telling you, like she is sucking so much joy out of that man crying. Like it was disturbing, and she looked up and she saw me and she saw that I saw. Okay. And we ended up being in several scenarios after that, in the same social scenario, because she was a roommate of a friend of mine who I warned uh, about this person, by the way, after experiencing that. But they did not heed my warning. they lived with that person for 4 more years, and after 4 years, I got a text from them. Actually, our relationship failed after because I tried to warn them. And then 4 years later, I get a text from that person saying, "I should have listened to you, you know, I'll never not trust what you say about people again and X, Y, and Z and blah, blah, blah." But yeah, no, she actually enjoyed that I knew. And she enjoyed that there was a subtext there that she could play with, you know? Um,
There's demonic people out there. It's a lot of them. They have all these dark, deep circles and all these parties and rituals and, you know, humiliation rituals and all these other things. And it's like when you get a whiff of this stuff, it's like that is some creepy ass shit.
oh,
Okay,
and it goes deep
I'm
too.
out. I know, and that's why I like. No, I am a spiritual person who have reunited with my faith, even start reading the Bible again, because there are evil forces that are trying to stop us because we are too strong and we are bringing people to truth and helping them to ascend to greatness.
That's exactly what they don't want. They wanna stop that at all costs. Too many of
Exactly.
ascending is kryptonite to their system, okay? They need to keep us down. They need to keep enough of us down in order to maintain control. But ultimately, y'all, our humanity, that's not what it was built for, all right? Our humanity was not built for people to control, all right? It was built for us to be free. The power of a human being is the power to create. They are inhibiting our power of creation. They're trying to stop it. And
Want to keep the status quo, keep things the way they are. And that is the things are fucked up. If you want things to stay the way they are, you go to hell over there because I'm going in a different path.
yeah,
And
because the
you
only constant in this world is change, right? You know,
exactly.
this is absolute truth. If you're trying to keep us where we are, what are you trying to do? You're trying to stop us from changing. You're trying to stop reality. You're trying to control reality. And we already know we can't do that. Okay. We have to change. Change is going to happen one way or another. And we get to decide, luckily for us, which way we go. We do not have to accept what these people are trying to tell us about ourselves. We can reach to our higher selves. That is what Margaret is trying to say. That's where she's guiding you guys. All
And
right.
nothing you have can tempt me. Been there, done that.
Right.
Okay? I'm from the womb. Okay, I came out with my armor. Okay? You or no, not you. You or no one else is going to stop the progress. It's not going to happen. Because if you take me out, somebody else is just going, I'm going to pass the baton to somebody else. Here, you take it. That's what we have to do. That's why we
That,
have to band together. That's why I asked you, what are we fighting with each other about?
that's
Because
right.
as long as we're fighting, we are not coming together, creating anything.
Exactly.
We're staying right down here, and that's where they want us to stay. You do that exact opposite. You move, you move in silence. You don't let, my mama always said, you never let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. And she said that for a reason.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we got to move strategically. You know, we can't just think that moving strategically is for our jobs or for our careers or whatever. Or, this is, we got to move strategically in our lives right now if we want to make sure that we can empower enough people to get to a place where we can fight back efficiently and effectively, and take control. Okay, it's time for us to rise up, and reclaim our power. I was just talking, Margaret, today on another live stream about you know people who believe in values of truth, of kindness, of community, and love, like myself, and human life and human flourishing. Um, I think that a lot of us have somehow, even though we've always been here, right? And we've always been out here. We've always been out here doing our thing, like, but it's almost like we forgot where our power lies a little bit, you know?
We
And
have, you know why? Because it's conditioning. We were conditioned at birth, which kept us small. Okay? We can see that in the narcissistic government. Okay? Those same things we experience at birth from our father, our mother, our siblings, the world.
Yep.
So these things have prepared us, to be tough, to be resilient, to persevere, you know, from our culture. Okay. So I don't know about others because I wasn't there. I'm just talking about our experience.
It's resonating
Okay.
so much, so much. I
Okay.
feel it inside, your words, they resonate. And yeah, my experience. You know exactly what I experienced. And I know that from hearing what you just said, that is exactly what I experienced is brainwashing, intentional, purposeful brainwashing that came through my family, that came through my friends, that came through my media, that came through my academic experiences, my professional experiences. Absolutely. You are 100% right. I know I experienced that. You know how I know is because I had to unravel those knots just the same way that you did, and we found a way, and all we're doing is trying to help other people find a way through it, and empower them, to live. We can still live, guys. We can still live despite these people out here sucking energy from people. We can still live. All right. They don't dictate how we live.
That's right. So as I see now, because my family ostracized me, okay? And so that was good because that forced me to get out of the hood and to get something better in life. But now when people see that you're doing good, they want to come back in your life. It's like, hey, how you doing? No, you weren't there when I needed somebody. I don't need you now. You're dead to me. Okay, you're dead to me. That's where I'm at today. You say that's heartless? Whatever.
I
That's
know.
where I am today.
I'll tell you my journey with that, like in my family, I also I cut them off eventually, right? At some point, but we're connected again. And I'll tell you what happened and how I got there because I think it's important, right? So
Okay.
now we're connected, but we barely communicate. Okay. So let me explain what that means. Okay. Like,
Okay. Okay.
so from my end, I have blocked my dad, I have blocked him. We were not
I'm
communicating.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I didn't talk to him for over 2 years. Okay. And I unblocked him and I called him. And the reason I did that is because I went through a program, which I'm gonna remain nameless for various reasons. But like I went through
Okay.
a program that created an experience where I ended up writing him a letter, okay, that they helped me curate.
Okay.
And then they were like, "All right, now call the person you wrote the letter to. Read them the letter."
Like that's a bit much.
Yeah. It was some real stuff, This is a person blocked for over 2 years, like I wasn't talking to this person, but it made sense in the context of the experience that they were creating. And
Okay.
so I unblocked him right there after 2 something years. I called him up. I said, "Hey, I'm doing this thing. I wrote you this letter. Can I read it to you?" He answered. He said, "Yeah." I read him the letter. And the first thing he said, "Wow, that was very adult of you," is what he said. That was his first response. And he said,
Wow.
and then he said, "Let's break bread together." And we ended up getting
Wow.
together a week after that. And we got a meal together. I've seen him since then. We've communicated since then. Now I'll tell you that these communications, most of them have not been very pleasant because he is the same exact person as the person who I got off the first time. But I'll tell you, but I'll tell you, but I'll tell you that they are not as unpleasant as they were because
Okay.
the change that
Okay.
happened was within me, right? It had nothing to do with I was
Okay.
transformed because I realized that that person who was traumatized, that was brainwashed, that was put into this world, and then acted upon by these narcissistic people, that happened to me, but the stories that I told myself about what it meant, some of those things I needed to let go of. I needed to put to
Okay.
the and that really empowered me then to move forward in a future where I was like, okay, well, I don't need to block him anymore because I'm no longer 5 years old getting spanked with the belt or yelled at or this or that, or I'm no longer being suppressed in these ways, and I'm no longer that little boy, you know? Um, yeah, when I was able to let all that go, now I was able to have a relationship with them, but, they were all surprised. I'm like a whole different person to them, right? Because 'Cause I'm not the
Wow.
person yeah, I'm not the person who they were beating up on before. I'm a new person. I still love them, I still appreciate everything they did for me. They did do a lot, despite all the problems that they caused. But, and that's where we're at, they're doing their thing, I'm doing my thing. We communicate very rarely, and everyone's happy with that, and everyone knows where everyone stands.
You know what? I really, really love that. I could take a page out of your book. I haven't got there yet. You got many stages of grief. You know, Anger is one of them. You have to let things process.
Oh, I was very angry. I know exactly. I went through it all. Listen, are you kidding me? I blocked somebody for a reason, like I don't know.
Right.
He's the only person I've ever blocked in my entire life. I've never blocked anyone.
Wow. Wow.
Like,
That says a lot.
right. So yeah. So yeah.
And I'm sure that that was hard for you too,
Course.
right?
I tried everything possible to not do that, that I could think of. I absolutely never wanted that. Never. It was never
Yeah,
something, you know
right. Because I look at every relationship that I had was narcissistic as well because of this. I not only had a mother wound, I have a father wound, a family wound. Okay, so how you deal with all that shit, all those different wounds at one time? It's like, damn. I'm like, no, I ain't ready to be in a relationship with nobody because I
Yeah.
had so much work to do on myself because I can never trust anybody. That's where I'm at today. I can't trust nobody
Mm.
because I don't trust myself. That's why. And
That's what
until,
that's what I gained from going through that process. I was able to trust myself in a way that I had never been able to in the past. And that's why I had to block my dad, right? Because I couldn't trust myself not to react. I'm gonna react because this hurts me, because of those wounds that you were talking about. My wounds open. I talk to him, you know?
and that's what that's what the narcissists see is those wounds. And that's what they prey on. So you got an opportunity, you learned a valuable lesson from that. And I've had an experience with a narcissist lately to myself. And I recognize it's not about them, it's about this is to teach me a lesson on what I need to fix within me. My mother wound and my father wound is very visible, not just to that person, but to everybody. So I thank that person for that lesson that I learned.
Exactly.
Yeah, I thank them with all my heart. Okay. Knowing that you can love somebody, but you can set them free knowing that they are not good for you and will not bring you anything good. None of those narcissistic relationships ended up well. Ended
Right.
up, I had to abandon myself. I had to leave my home and in fear of my life. That's not a life that I want to live. I don't care how much I love you. I love you enough to let you go.
Period. Period. And if anyone's in that situation, you're talking about, oh, I can't leave so and so behind or this and that, we get one life to live, guys. We get one of these unique lives, all right? And all we have is time, okay? The more time that we spend catering to the whims of someone who wants to feed off of our torment, okay? The less time we have to live. Okay, that's not living. That's not living, all right? When you're living,
No.
you're stepping into a future that you have created for yourself. One that you have created for yourself, all right? If you are living under this narcissist rule, you are living out someone their sick fantasy, of sucking your wounds, of taking your energy, of taking you down, suppressing you, reveling in your suffering, sometimes even unknowingly, I'm not trying to even necessarily put malice on it. I'm just like, these are these people that exist out here, and they be sucking your energy. All right. And if you want to get over that, you have to learn to protect yourself. And the best way to protect yourself is using what I believe is our power, Margaret, you and me, and also probably many of the people tuning in here, is self reflection. All right, guys, do not underestimate the power of self reflection to promote growth, because you'll have epiphanies that will be like layers of protection for you. Okay. So that when you interact with these narcissists from your past, they're
Past
not
and future and present.
exactly any of them. Yeah. Yeah. But like particularly the ones from your past, because that is when you know you're healed. That's when you know you're healed. If you can interact with the narcissist from your past and you don't feel what you felt when you were being abused, that's when you know you're healed. I feel that. I can now be at a sitting down across from my dad and I don't feel what I felt in the past. I feel something different. I didn't even know that was possible, Margaret,
That's
until
that's a lot of growth. Did you get that from going to therapy, or you just
I,
did the work yourself?
neither. I did not get it from going to therapy, and I will name the program since you asked so directly. I'm going to name exactly what I went through. Okay, the name of the
Okay.
called the Landmark Forum. The Landmark Forum. I've also paid for several people to engage in the same process. Everyone has thanked me profusely. Anyone who actually goes through with it finds it extraordinary and incredible. If you go through it from start to finish, because that's exactly what it is. It's a course for living life over a single weekend with a couple 3-hour sessions on 2 other days. And it was an amazing experience. They had me, like I said, write that letter to my dad. I called my dad, I reached him. I discovered so many things about myself, a all the limitations I had put on myself that I didn't even realize. I realized my blind spots, what I just couldn't see just because we all have them, right? And
We do.
they curated an experience to bring them to the forefront, and it is 100% accurate. It will happen. It will work if you go through the program. You will see your blind spots, and then you'll have an opportunity to deal with them. Which when do we get that, right? Um,
We get that when we decide to work on ourselves, taking responsibility and accountability for our actions, because our actions impact others.
yes, exactly. And so I was so grateful for it. It was well worth the price, and Um, I definitely encourage anyone to do it. I literally have encouraged everyone. My husband has done it. Many of my friends have done it. Some of my students have done it. And yeah, every single person has given a positive review. Yeah. So any way we can empower each other, guys, and strengthen ourselves and steel ourselves for what's to come, because as we can see, um, in terms of what we're not supposed to say, that universe is artificially expanding, right?
And based on whose opinion, and why does their opinion matter in our lives?
It doesn't. Yeah, but they're trying to pretend that it does, right? And they're going to use violence in order to make people believe that it does. And we have to prepare for that.
Or they're going to use some type of military presence, or they're just going to ram it down your throat and say, you will do this. They're going to turn it into a law and say, you will do this.
Probably both. Yeah, probably
Or,
both.
or suffer the consequences.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what's about to happen now. And we
It's
either,
happening. It's fucking happening. How many people got killed so far?
I mean, countless people. We can't even count
Okay.
because they actually stopped counting people they were killing who were already in custody. We forget about the people who get taken into custody and then they die in custody because those people just get erased. There's already been quite a number of those people who have died before the people who are getting shot up here in the streets now, up in the open. But yeah, like, I mean, we can't even count the blood, and it's disgusting, it's terrible, and we can't allow it. This is our country, and we got to fight for it. We can't just allow these people to do whatever they want, like we got to protect human life at all cost if we believe in it.
What's the point of the Constitution and the what you call it, the Bill of Rights? What's the purpose of all of that? Uh, has brought us to this point today. I'm missing something.
No, I mean, I think that the purpose of it was to enshrine a system of white supremacy for generations, and it worked. That was the purpose of those documents. There was the ideals, right, which are amazing, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness,
But for
like
who? For
free.
who?
Exactly. But the undercurrent, right? The foundation, the cement, as somebody in my live stream today said, was white supremacy. So we have to have a new constitution. I don't think it's even it's not even a question to me. We can no longer rely on the foundations of the past if we want to create a better world. We can't. We have to really root things up from the bottom. And that to me does mean a new constitution. Obviously, our current one has led to this stage, which is white male supremacist nationalism is what we're about experiencing and delving ever deeper into. So obviously our current constitution did not cover stopping us from getting there, and we need one that will.
They are rewriting their Project 2025. They probably already have it, modified it. Now we're into Project 2026. What is our plan?
Well, I don't know what our plan is. I can only tell you what
That's
my
the problem.
I know.
That's the problem.
Well, listen, this is where we're at in organizing. We were late. We're late to the party. A lot of people kind of didn't support the people who were doing the work on the ground this whole time. There are people who've been working on these issues who have been fighting this fight. Before the fight became more public. There's always been people fighting. Throughout history, not just like in recent times, but like there's always people behind the scenes who believe in truth, who believe in justice, who believe in humanity, who believe in creating an environment of human life of flourishing. And those people are always suppressed. They're always attacked. They're rarely supported. And now is a time where we have no choice but to do that if we want to actually create something better. Otherwise, we're going to slip into chaos, as is happening right now. So, yeah, I think that just I can only tell you what I'm doing about it. I can't tell you what collective action we'll take in the future. But for anyone who's interested about what a collective action we could take, please read Martin Luther King Jr. Where do we go from here? Chaos or community? Because he predicted every single thing that is happening right now. And he also gave his idea for a solution. So, y'all, read that book. Where do we go from here? Chaos or community? Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His holiday just passed recently, read it, tell other people to read it. It's a critical text, because he was prophetic in that guy. You will read it and you'll be like, oh my God, he wrote this how many years ago? Decades ago. He predicted where we would be and how the struggle would unfold to be one that was inclusive of all humanity. So read about that, y'all. Check that out. It's incredible. And his ideas for how to fight back are in there as well. He talks about how to fight back using community, using unity, and using the power of economic leverage that is supported by a foundation of love. That is what we need to do. We need to create economic leverage that's supported by a foundation of community and love. It's a very difficult thing to do. Okay. But it is well possible if we put our attention and our energy towards it, and our money towards it, and our resources towards it, our time, and that is our minds, exactly,
And yeah.
arts, exactly. And that is what we need to focus on doing. That's what I'm focusing on, encouraging other people to do. And I'm doing it by sharing my heart publicly. I'm doing it by talking about my own journey through this, just like I did with you today, and
Yes.
I do it by, I plan to intentionally and consciously go all around the nation and do that work in all kinds of different areas. Because what we have to recognize is that the people that we're fighting, the white male nationalists that we're fighting against right now, these people have been at it for generations. They are pulling from the deepest depths of evil, y'all. Like
Their ancestors were slave owners. Let's keep it real.
exactly, like, they have been at this, at human trafficking, at dehumanizing people, at finding ways of doing it. It's literally having meetings to decide how they could slip deeper into sadism. Like, these people have been at it forever, okay?
They're
So,
experts. They're experts.
yeah, we can't underestimate them. If anyone's doing that now, I think you're crazy. But like, we've gotta come at them with the same generational mindset. We definitely can't get there in our generation. In mine, not in Margaret's, okay, y'all. But what we can do is we can fortify ourselves, we can fortify our people in our social circle, our young people. We can get them to understand that we see what they are facing and that we believe in them to have the power to overcome and create a better world, and that we will support them in doing so. To me, there's nothing more important that we can do to turn the tide. Our young people must believe that we have their back. It's the youth who change political tides, and we need to support them and empower them. So I plan to go to schools, talk to students, okay? Make sure that they know that there are people out there who believe in the power of love and are executing on that power. And I can tell stories about that and stories about my growth, stories about the process, stories that hopefully will empower people um to realize that their imagination doesn't have to be limited by what these white men tell us it has to be, that there's more than that. Like, there's so much beauty in this world, and we don't have to settle for whatever they're ripping out of the deepest, darkest parts of humanity. We don't have to.
Because they only brum crumb breadcrumbing you anyway, giving you the little crumbs that fall from their table if we can catch them. Okay, we deserve much more than that. I want the damn steak. Okay, I want the ribeye steak, and I can see it now.
But
Okay,
we only deserve it if we fight for it. That's the
exactly.
thing, like, people we maybe have taken it for granted, okay? But, like, honestly, um, this society, this community, we all have a responsibility for it, and many people have been taking it for granted. Our interdependence, our social, circles, and we gotta get serious, guys, about the fact that we need each other. We need each other, and
More than ever. More than
yeah.
ever.
Yeah, I mean, the more that we are segmented, the less power we have. Everybody. Life gets worse for everybody, even the people who think they're in charge. So, we need to it's all hands on deck, like, we gotta put our heart, our souls, our minds, our everything into um giving the next generations a chance to move this forward, and moving it forward presently as much as we possibly can. Every time I have one of these conversations and someone says, "Wow, you really touched me. You really got me thinking about something in a new way, in a way I didn't think. You really gave me some hope. You empowered me." All of these things that people tell me, that's what keeps me going, right? Because that's what we got to do. That's how we build community is we build each other up, so that we can be strong, and that we can stand up for the fight.
Absolutely. Well, while you talking, let me see if anybody have any questions. Hello, Millie. Does anybody have any questions for either Will or myself? Just to let you know, Will, I've still been trying to get Priyanka here ever since we've been talking, but
No problem.
nevertheless,
I
it's
like
all
to
good.
I like to step in just in case people's guests, like, don't show up. This is not the first time I've done this. I did this with Khadijah. I've done it with, one other person. Yeah, so I like being a fill-in like this, and I appreciate you being open to it.
I love it. I love it. I was going to call Brandon up here if he wanted to come. Okay, we got 20 minutes.
Yeah, come on in, anyone.
Okay, yeah. Come on, Brandon. You want to come up in here? Brandon is a superstar. He always has something to contribute. Okay.
Let our hearts lead. White folks rationalize because they think their way out of what they know is wrong. Oh yeah, Brandon, come on in here.
Yeah, come on, Brandon. Don't be shy. You're not shy. Don't even play that.
There he is. Hey, oh, well,
Hello.
hi.
Hello. I can't get Priyanka. Okay, I'll check her later. So what's up, Brandon?
Oh, just living this wonderful life here in America, I guess.
Okay. So
Tell
what's
us.
happening? Yeah,
Yeah,
tell us.
tell us how you're feeling today and like what's going on with you.
I mean, I just, I don't know. I have to limit myself what I take in as far as the news goes and stuff, because with the history of depression and everything, I, I have to look out for my own mental health. You know, I come on Substack and I hear little bits in the news. I watch Walter and Ellie Leonard and Lawrence and Dana with the Daily Whatever, So I get updates and stuff and I see little bits of the news, but man, I cannot take it all in or it will just
Viral. I hear you. I hear you.
yeah, yeah. It's too much. So I need to watch people like Margaret, who's she is she is such a bright light and a cheerleader, and I always like watching her videos. And um, yeah, I went on with her once a few months ago, but uh, anyway, I we need to get together and do it again sometime. But
I would love
um,
that.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
I feel the same
Especially
way
when you're
about
cooking.
you what? Sorry, what?
Oh, I was just
Go-
saying I feel the same way about Margaret. Like
Oh
she's
yeah,
like that's how I found her, shining through these Substack streets. That's how I found you.
oh yes,
Hey.
yes.
Hey. Yeah, and I love Brandon. Last time I seen your live, you had 81 people. I was like, you go, boy. You and KR buyers. I was like, you go, boy.
Oh
You
yes.
such a bright light. You so cute too. You cute. Okay.
Oh. Oh,
Really?
stop it.
Oh my gosh. Well,
have you two been live? Went live together before?
I
no.
don't think no. I've seen several of videos with you. Well, a lot of times you come on with Walter, but I've seen a couple of your individual ones, but we've never been on together as far as I remember.
Yeah,
You
this is our time.
you
Yeah.
should, because both of you have such charisma. Okay.
Listen, I can already tell from feeling your energy there, Brandon, that you are somebody who fits the qualifications to be. And do you know what my qualifications are? I have two qualifications. You know what they are?
I've heard this before, but I can't remember. But go ahead.
Figured you have, like you probably have heard it. So it's two things: an open heart and an open mind.
Yeah, yeah.
I believe that you have qualifications for those two things, and I would love to have you have a discussion with me on my show, and um, yeah, I don't know. What did you think about the ones that you've observed so far?
I mean, they were good. I I grew up in a very small rural community, and there was a lot of um, there was a lot of racism. Our school was very small, very little diversity. I mean, throughout my for kindergarten through 12th grade, I probably remember maybe two or three black people in the entire school, entire time I went to school.
Yeah,
And my dad, a lot of my family was racist, and I I knew from a really young age that was wrong. And I don't know. I've said this before. I don't know how I knew that. I mean, because I wasn't. it may have been very early in my when I was growing up that my mother might have instilled that in some way, but I didn't get it from my dad or most of it my other family. Didn't get it from the church, but yeah, and part of it may have been that I wanted to be so unlike my dad that I went the complete opposite direction.
I've heard that many times, Brandon. I've heard that from many different people, Walter included. He
Oh
said,
yeah,
yeah, he says the exact same thing about like, when he was first becoming a dad, he was like, I don't really know what it's like to be a dad, but I definitely know what I don't want to be. And he was like, that's
right.
what I try to be is the opposite.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, exactly.
mm.
But
I,
yeah. So
yeah,
I
yeah, go ahead.
oh
Sorry.
sorry.
Oh, no, go
Oh
ahead.
no. Yeah, there's a every time one of us talks, the sound cuts out. So I'm like,
My bad.
no, that's fine. No, being a gay man, also, I feel like I relate to people in marginalized community, the Black community, and because I know it's not the same, but there's some similarity with us being, you know,
Margin.
tortured and
Yeah.
killed in some way, in a lot of instances, but not on the same level. But um, there's still at least that kind of um, knowing. But anyway,
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Brandon. Since I asked Will, okay, I was supposed to be talking to Priyanka about things that we shouldn't say, okay, and he
oh
said
yeah,
his word. So, is there anything in particular for you?
well, kind of like what you were saying earlier in the video about kids when I was growing up. We weren't allowed to speak out, in the presence of certain adults and everything. We weren't allowed to interrupt into adult conversations or anything like that, or in church, shush. Um, Now, as far as I know, you mentioned Will, you mentioned the N word, and I heard that some growing up, of course, from some of my family members, like with jokes and things like that. And I wrote an article, actually, I published it on Martin Luther King Jr. Day about my experience with um, racism and something my brother said when I was very young. And it was, I hated writing about it. I hate talking about it because it was like one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. I was just, it was just, I just hate thinking about it. I've got that ingrained in my head and I hate it, you
Mm,
know,
mm,
but, um, we weren't, I was never taught by my dad not to say that, but I'm sure my mom did at some point when because she's a lot more, she had friends, she grew up in Kansas City and downtown Kansas City, when she was younger. And she was exposed to a little more diversity, at least when she was younger. So I think that kind of gave her a different perspective. And when she was younger, when Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, and there were lots of riots and things, and in Kansas City that was happening, and that's when they moved out of Kansas City because um, her dad, her parents thought this is no longer a safe place to be, and moved into a more rural area. But anyway, yeah, as far as things that we were not allowed to say, um, anything that involved taking the Lord's name in vain, because I grew up in a very conservative religious household. Um, Anything, I don't know, things about ourselves that we were proud of, we were not allowed to, boast too much. because being proud was sinful, so those are some of the things that I can think of right off the bat.
That's really good. I mean,
Now, go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I know.
just meant it's not good, but
Right.
was a good share. Thank you.
Now, another thing that really sticks out to me is they say, don't burn bridges. Okay? But some bridges should never been erected, in my opinion. Okay? So it's okay to tear it down if necessary.
I
Okay?
complete that. I 100% agree with that. We change and transform as we learn and grow as human beings, and um ultimately you grow apart from people, or you learn things about people, right, that you didn't know about them before, like, hey, that maybe you find out that they have certain values that are in conflict with your values, and you didn't know that before. And it's okay to deconstruct that bridge, like, you're like, listen, I built this under the assumption that we were we had these values in common, and if that's not the case, and if the person is not willing to examine those values and transform, and maybe even if they are, you're not responsible for that, you're just responsible for deciding what you're going to do about it, if and so yeah, I think it's perfectly not only acceptable, but very healthy to, when you discover um, that someone is no longer serving you, or someone's in conflict with your values, that you're out, and that's perfectly fine. Like, maybe they can come back in, who knows, but like, you got to do what's right for yourself, just like you taking care of your mental health, Brandon, you got to make decisions, you got to draw boundaries, and you got to make sure that you are protecting yourself, it's very important. Just make sure you don't go too far, okay? And make sure you don't stop opening yourself up to new experiences,
Right.
because you want to be careful that your defense mechanisms don't become something that is rooted in the past. It needs to be something that is rooted in the future, right? This protection is something for your future self to have layered on, so that when you encounter, these situations again, you have that, and it's no longer sending us into a spiral, and you can do that. You can develop that armor, and I just want to encourage you to toe that line, all right? Be careful. Take care of
Yeah.
yourself. That line. Yeah. Love you guys. You guys are awesome. I have to go.
Me too. But I love this. This was spontaneous. And that's what made this magic. Okay?
Thank you so much for hosting, Margaret. Y'all, make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed. Brandon, I hope you decide to come on the Contraband wagon. If you're interested, just send me a message, okay?
All
And
right. Yeah. No problem. It
yeah,
was nice to finally meet you face to face.
you, Brandon. All right. Much love to you guys. You take care, all right?
All right. Thank you
All
all.
right.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.